Hey everyone, welcome back to Inventive Minds. Crazy to think this is already our 14th episode. Feels like just yesterday we were kicking off this whole thing, this wild exploration through the world of innovation. And before we jump into today's topic, I got to give a huge shout out to AudioCast Lab India. They're the wizards behind the scenes making this all sound so good. So if you're out there thinking about starting your own podcast, seriously, hit them up. They're the real deal. But okay, enough about that. Let's get down to business. Today we're talking about something that might seem pretty basic at first. Materials. But trust me, this isn't your high school chemistry class. We're going way deeper, exploring how materials have shaped civilizations, driven those big technological leaps forward, and even sparked revolutions. Think about it. We've literally named entire eras after them. The Stone Age, the Bronze Age, the Iron Age. Pretty clear we wouldn't be where we are today without the ability to manipulate and invent new materials. So get ready. We're diving into the power of materials, uncovering how those seemingly simple things like plastic and steel have completely revolutionized how we live, work, and even explore the universe.
You know what's wild is how every time humans figured out a new material, or even just a better way to use an old one, it led to this massive societal shift, like stronger tools, meant better hunting and farming, which led to more food, more people, and these more complex communities. Then came tougher weapons, and, well, that changed warfare and power dynamics forever.
It's kind of like those, you need this material to unlock that building situations and strategy games, right? Like, you can't build a skyscraper in Age of Empires with just sticks and stone.
Yeah, exactly. And more durable building materials meant larger, more complex structures, which is what paved the way for cities and empires. Imagine trying to build ancient Rome with only wood and mud bricks. It would be a very different and probably much shorter lasting empire.
That's a great point. And speaking of building empires, the Industrial Revolution was a total game changer. That's when steel really took center stage, right?
Absolutely. Steel was like the superhero material of the Industrial Revolution. Its strength and versatility, it allowed us to build on a scale we'd never seen before, bridges spanning huge rivers, towering skyscrapers reaching for the clouds, and railway networks connecting entire continents. It's not an exaggeration to say that steel was the backbone of the Industrial Revolution, and honestly, in many ways, it's still the backbone of our modern world.
Okay, so we've gone from stone tools to massive steel structures. Makes you wonder, are we in the middle of another materials revolution right now? I mean, It feels like every day there's a new headline about some crazy new material that's going to change everything.
It's a great question, and to really answer it, we need to talk about a material that often gets a bad rap these days: plastic. Specifically, the invention of bakelite in 1907. Now, this was the first fully synthetic plastic, and it really marked a turning point in how we make things.
Bakelite. I remember my grandma had this old rotary phone made of that stuff. It felt like it weighed a ton.
Exactly. Bakelite was a huge deal because it was lightweight, durable, and heat-resistant. All of that together, pretty mind-blowing at the time. It was used in everything from radios and telephones to jewelry and even billiard balls. But even more importantly, bakelite opened up the doors to mass production, making all sorts of consumer goods affordable for everyday people.
So bakelite was like the gateway to our modern world of plastic everything, from food packaging and toys to clothes and electronics. I mean, plastic is pretty much unavoidable these days. But let's be real, that convenience has come with a pretty hefty environmental price tag, hasn't it?
Yeah, you're hitting on a crucial point there. While plastics have undeniably revolutionized many industries, their overuse and the fact that they don't break down easily in the environment, that's created a major global crisis. We're now dealing with plastic pollution on a massive scale, oceans full of plastic waste, and landfills overflowing. It's a serious issue, and finding solutions is crucial.
Yeah. It's kind of ironic, isn't it? This material that was supposed to make our lives easier, now it's become this huge environmental burden. So what can we do about it? What's on the horizon in terms of solutions? Are we just doomed to drown in a sea of plastic water bottles?
Don't worry, it's not all doom and gloom. There are some seriously exciting things happening in the world of materials science. And some of these new materials are tackling the issue of sustainability head on.
Okay, this is where things get really interesting. I've been reading about carbon fiber and Kevlar. Aren't they using those in everything from airplanes to bulletproof vests? Sounds like the stuff Iron Man's suit is made of.
You're not far off. These materials are known for their amazing strength-to-weight ratio. They're lighter than traditional materials like steel. But they can be just as strong, if not stronger. This makes them perfect for things like airplanes and spaceships, where every ounce matters. But they're also used in high-performance sports equipment. And, yeah, even body armor.
And then there's graphene. which is basically the Beyonce of materials.
Mhm.
Super strong, super thin, and can conduct electricity better than copper. I read somewhere that it's basically a single layer of carbon atoms arranged in a honeycomb pattern. How is that even possible?
Graphene is definitely a superstar in the materials world, and you're right. Its structure is incredibly unique. It's just one atom thick, but it's stronger than steel, incredibly flexible, and an amazing conductor of heat and electricity. Scientists believe graphene could revolutionize everything from electronics and energy storage to medicine and water filtration. We're really just starting to explore its potential, but it could be a total game changer.
So with all this talk of revolutionary materials, I'm curious, could graphene be part of the solution to our plastic problem? I mean, if it's that amazing, maybe it could replace plastic altogether.
It's definitely a possibility. Researchers are looking into how to use graphene to develop more sustainable and biodegradable plastics. But there's also a lot of buzz around bioplastics, which are made from renewable resources like cornstarch or sugarcane. They're designed to break down naturally, so they don't stick around in the environment for centuries like traditional plastics.
That sounds promising. Are bioplastics already being used in everyday things?
You might be surprised to learn that you probably already use bioplastics regularly. Some food packaging, disposable cutlery, and even clothing are now being made from bioplastics. The challenge right now is making sure these materials are truly biodegradable and don't just break down into smaller microplastics, which can still be harmful.
It's mind-boggling to think about all the innovation happening in the world of materials. It's almost like something out of a sci-fi movie. Speaking of which, I recently read about self-healing materials that literally repair themselves. Are we talking Terminator-level stuff here?
Self-healing materials are definitely a hot area of research. Think about bridges that repair their own cracks, phone screens that fix themselves after a drop, or even clothes that mend their own rips. The goal is to create materials that last longer and reduce waste and resource consumption. The potential applications are really incredible, and it could change the way we think about product life cycles.
All right, before we go any further down this rabbit hole of amazing materials, let's take a step back. It's clear that material science isn't just about making cool stuff. It has this huge impact on pretty much every aspect of our lives, right? I mean, we wouldn't have skyscrapers, bridges, or even modern cities without materials like steel and concrete. It's almost like material science is the foundation of civilization.
You're absolutely right. Materials are the building blocks of our built environment, and they shape how we live, work, and interact with the world around us. But it's not just about infrastructure. Think about the medical field. Biocompatible plastics and implants have revolutionized healthcare, making things like artificial joints and life-saving medical devices possible.
Wow, I never really thought about it that way. It's kind of wild to think how much we rely on these advancements. And then there's space exploration. That's like the ultimate test for material science, right? You can't just use any old thing when you're building a rocket or a rover.
Space is the ultimate proving ground for materials. The environment is harsh, with extreme temperatures, radiation, and micrometeoroids zipping around. Spacecraft and equipment need to be able to withstand all that, and lightweight. Durable materials are essential for making space travel possible and more cost-effective. Without the constant innovation in materials science, we wouldn't have been able to send probes to other planets or build the International Space Station.
This is pretty mind-blowing stuff. We've gone from ancient tools to futuristic composites. The evolution of materials is a testament to human ingenuity. And it's incredible how these advancements have shaped our homes, our cities, and even our ability to explore the cosmos. If you're as fascinated by this stuff as we are, we've got a list of books in the episode description that'll take you even deeper into this world of materials. Trust me, they're worth checking out. But for now, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue our exploration of the power of materials. We'll talk more about the challenges we face, the exciting solutions on the horizon, and how we can all be a part of creating a more sustainable future. So stick around, and we'll be right back after this short break.
See you in a bit. Welcome back. You know, it's amazing how much we take these materials for granted. I mean, we interact with them every single day, but we rarely stop to think about the science and the ingenuity that went into making them.
That's so true. We're surrounded by these incredible materials.
Yeah.
But we don't always appreciate what went into making them or the impact they've had on our lives. It's like this invisible infrastructure that makes our world work. And it's not just the materials themselves. It's also how we shape them and manipulate them. Like, take 3D printing, for example. That's completely revolutionized how we design and make things. It's like we're living in a Star Trek episode where replicators are becoming a reality.
3D printing, or additive manufacturing, as it's sometimes called, is definitely a game changer. It lets us create these complex shapes and structures that would be impossible with traditional manufacturing. And we're not just talking about plastics either. People are 3D printing with metals, ceramics, and even biomaterials from medical implants. I mean, the possibilities are really endless.
It's mind-blowing to think we can basically print objects out of thin air. I can't even get my regular printer to work half the time. But seriously, though, it makes you realize how much potential there is for innovation in this field. Who knows what incredible materials and manufacturing techniques we'll have in the next decade, or even the next century.
That's the exciting part of material science. It's a never-ending journey of discovery and innovation. As we dig deeper into the world of materials, we're constantly uncovering new possibilities, new ways to solve problems, and new ways to improve our lives and the planet.
Okay, so we've talked about the amazing advancements and the challenges we face with materials like plastic. But what can we actually do about it? I mean, it's not just up to scientists and engineers to figure this out, is it?
Absolutely not. We all have a role to play in creating a more sustainable future when it comes to materials. Every choice we make as consumers, it has an impact.
So what are some practical things our listeners can do to support sustainable materials? I'm guessing reduce, reuse, recycle is still a good place to start.
You got it. But we can take it even further. It's about shifting our mindset from a disposable culture to a more circular economy. That means thinking about the entire life cycle of a product, from the materials it's made of to what happens to it when we're done with it.
I see what you're saying. It's about being more mindful about the things we buy and how we use them.
Exactly. Ask yourself, do I really need this new gadget? Can I repair this instead of throwing it away? Are there eco-friendly alternatives to this product? These small choices, they can have a big impact over time.
It's a good reminder that we all have the power to make a difference. Our choices really do matter, even when it comes to something as seemingly simple as the materials and the products we buy. But it can feel overwhelming sometimes.
It's definitely a journey, not a destination. Don't get bogged down in trying to be perfect. Just focus on making small, sustainable changes over time.
Okay, I like that approach. Small steps lead to big changes. So what about you? What are some things you do personally to reduce your impact when it comes to materials?
Well, I try to avoid single-use plastics as much as possible. I carry a reusable water bottle and coffee cup. I bring my own bags to the grocery store. And I try to choose products with minimal packaging. I also try to support companies that are transparent about their supply chains and committed to sustainable practices.
Those are all great tips.
Yeah.
I'm definitely guilty of using way too many plastic water bottles, but I'm making an effort to be more conscious of that. It's a work in progress for sure.
We all have our areas to work on. The key is to keep learning, keep making small changes, and keep the conversation going.
I agree. It's about making sustainability a part of our daily lives, not just something we think about once in a while.
Exactly. And the more we talk about it, the more we raise awareness, the more people will start making those changes.
That's true. Collective action is what's going to make the biggest difference. Okay, so before we get too deep into saving the planet, let's bring it back to the fascinating world of materials themselves. We've touched on some pretty mind-blowing stuff already, but I know there's even more to explore. What are some of the things that really get you excited about the future of material science?
Ooh, that's a tough one. There are so many exciting avenues of research, but one that I find particularly fascinating is biomimicry.
Biomimicry, that sounds kind of intimidating.
It's not as complicated as it sounds. It's basically about looking to nature for inspiration. Nature has been solving design problems for millions of years, so why not learn from the best? We're talking about studying how biological systems create strong, lightweight, and sustainable materials.
Okay, I'm starting to get it. So we're talking about taking inspiration from things like spider silk, which is incredibly strong and flexible, but also totally biodegradable.
Exactly. Spider silk is a great example. It's stronger than steel by weight, and it's incredibly tough and flexible. Scientists are working on ways to replicate these properties in synthetic materials, which could lead to some amazing applications in everything from clothing and construction to medical devices and aerospace.
So we're essentially copying nature's homework.
In a way, yes. But it's more than just copying. It's about understanding the underlying principles of how nature builds materials, and then applying those principles to create new materials that are both high-performing and sustainable.
That's pretty cool. What other areas of material science are you excited about?
Nanotechnology is another area that has huge potential. By manipulating materials at the atomic level, scientists can create materials with entirely new properties For example, they're developing self-healing coatings that could extend the lifespan of products, reducing waste. And they're even exploring ways to use nanomaterials to clean up pollution, like removing heavy metals from water.
Nanotechnology sounds almost like magic, like you're manipulating atoms to create these incredible materials.
It's definitely pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible. And the applications are far-reaching, from more efficient solar panels and batteries to targeted drug delivery systems and super strong, lightweight materials for construction.
It sounds like we're on the verge of a materials revolution. That could be even more transformative than the Industrial Revolution. And it's not just about making things better, it's also about making things more sustainable and addressing the environmental challenges we face.
I couldn't agree more. It's an exciting time to be in this field. And I'm optimistic about the future of material science and its potential to create a more sustainable and equitable world.
This has been an incredible conversation. It's amazing to think about all the innovation happening in this field and how materials are shaping our lives and the future of our planet. Before we move on, I want to remind everyone to check out the books we've recommended in the episode description. They're full of fascinating insights into the world of materials, from the everyday to the extraordinary. You won't be disappointed. And we're not done yet. We have one more segment coming up, where we'll continue our exploration of the power of materials. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Inventive Minds. We've been on quite a journey today, exploring this fascinating world of materials. From the Stone Age to nanotechnology, it's clear that materials have played a key role in shaping our world.
Yeah, it's really remarkable how much human ingenuity has gone into developing new materials and figuring out how to use them, to solve problems and create new possibilities.
Totally. And as we've talked about, these innovations have come with both benefits and challenges. We've seen how materials like plastic have revolutionized our lives, but also create some significant environmental issues. It's kind of a paradox, isn't it? The very things that have enabled all this progress are also the ones we need to rethink to make sure we have a sustainable future.
It's a classic example of unintended consequences. We've become so good at creating and using materials that we haven't always stopped to think about the long-term impact. But the good news is, we're starting to address those challenges and develop new solutions.
Well, what's the more sustainable future look like when it comes to materials? I'm guessing it's not just about finding some magic green replacement for plastic, is it?
You're right. It's a lot more complex than that. It requires a fundamental shift in our thinking about materials and how we use them. We need to move away from this linear take, make, dispose model and embrace something called a circular economy.
We've talked about the circular economy before, but could you break that down for our listeners who might not be familiar with the concept?
Sure. Imagine a system where materials are constantly flowing, being reused, repurposed, and recycled instead of ending up in landfills or, polluting our environment. It's about designing products with their end of life in mind, making sure they can be easily disassembled and their components reused or recycled.
So it's about closing the loop, so to speak.
Yeah.
Creating a system where waste is minimized and resources are valued and kept in circulation for as long as possible.
Exactly. It's a big challenge, but it's also a huge opportunity to innovate and create a more sustainable and equitable world.
What are some practical ways we can move towards a circular economy? It sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like in practice?
Well, it starts with making conscious choices as consumers. We need to think about the products we buy and where they come from. Are they made from recycled materials? Are they designed to be durable and repairable? Can they be easily recycled at the end of their life? Asking yourself these questions can guide your purchasing decisions and send a message to manufacturers that sustainability matters.
It's about using our purchasing power to support companies that are making an effort to be more sustainable, right?
Right. We can also support initiatives and policies that promote a circular economy. There's a lot of exciting innovation happening in recycling technologies and new materials development. These advancements can help us move towards a closed-loop system for materials.
That's encouraging. It sounds like there's a lot of potential for positive change. But it's going to take a collective effort from individuals, businesses, and governments to really make this happen.
Absolutely. We all have a role to play in this transition to a more circular economy. It's not about blaming or shaming. It's about working together to create a better future.
I love that perspective. It's about recognizing that we're all in this together and that we have the power to shape the future.
Exactly. And it's not just about environmental sustainability either. It's also about social equity and economic opportunity. A circular economy can create jobs, reduce poverty, and improve living standards for everyone.
It sounds like a win-win-win situation. Protecting the planet, boosting the economy,
Yeah.
and creating a more just and equitable society.
That's the vision. It's an ambitious goal. But I believe it's achievable if we work together and embrace the power of innovation and collaboration.
This conversation has been truly inspiring. It's made me think about materials in a whole new way and appreciate the amazing ingenuity that goes into creating them. It's also given me hope that we can find solutions to the environmental challenges we face and build a more sustainable future.
I'm glad to hear that. Knowledge is power.
Yeah.
And the more we understand about materials and their impact, the more informed choices we can make.
And speaking of knowledge, I want to remind everyone one last time to check out the books we've recommended in the episode description. They're packed with fascinating insights into the world of materials and the brilliant minds that have shaped it. And as we wrap up this episode of Inventive Minds, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought. The future is not predetermined. It's something we create together. Every choice we make, every action we take, it shapes the world we live in. So let's choose to be conscious, to be informed, and to be a force for positive change.
That's a powerful message. Let's embrace the challenges, celebrate the innovations, and work together to build a future where materials are used responsibly and sustainably for the benefit of all.
Thank you for joining us on this journey through the world of materials. We hope you've enjoyed the ride. Be sure to tune in next time for the final episode of Inventive Minds, where we'll be exploring future-forward, cutting-edge technologies and beyond. It's going to be an epic finale you won't want to miss.
We'll be diving into the mind-blowing innovations that are shaping the future, from artificial intelligence and biotechnology to space exploration and renewable energy.
Until then, keep those inventive minds engaged. And remember, the future is what we make it.